Last week, I spoke about how it can be really useful for us to have an understanding of our relationship to power dynamics and thinking about that from the point of view of perhaps being in a particular environment that is not um, particularly supportive to us, or where there is a power differential there, and that we may need to draft in additional support, and understanding our responses to this environment or situation is useful, because then we can start to ask ourselves, are we responding, reacting? Are we being aggravated by a situation, or are we actually shutting down? Or is our kind of communication capacity reduced or limited in some way? And then I was thinking about this, and how useful it is to understand our kind of default position and reflexes. Also, when we are consuming information or we are engaging with other people's presentation of information. So, using the example of a performance space. So, there is potentially a stage set up, and then there's an allocated area for performer or presenter, and then audience or listeners. So already in the very fabric of this environment, there has been created this hierarchy where you have one person who is in the spotlight, in the focus. They might even be amplified, and then you have an audience there who are sharing an experience and they're connected to each other, but you're also then part of a group dynamic, then a group consciousness. And understanding our relationship to power dynamics then can be really helpful in discerning information and thinking about, why am I activated or inspired based on what someone is saying? Is it what they're saying? Is it their natural charisma? Is it the way that they're dressed? Their aesthetic, physical appearance? Are we attracted towards that? Is it the sound of their voice, the way that they are carrying themselves, how they're projecting? Is it the rapport that they have with the audience? Is it about what we think of them in terms of what they're presenting, and that they have an authority on a subject? Are we connecting with their confidence, and is it about relating to that from the point of view of, I would aspire to have that confidence, or to be able to show up in this way and be visible and be present and be comfortable, or appear to be comfortable in this dynamic where there's a little bit of pressure and the demand to perform and deliver. So we don't understand or know or have insight into all of the preparation that might have gone in for that individual to be on stage and presenting in the way that they are. But we do have this ability to understand ourselves and to question ourselves, check in with ourselves, and challenge what might be an initial response of feeling connected, or a sense of warmth, or an emotional feeling towards this person that's presenting information, and then to allow ourselves to actually challenge that and go one step deeper and say, why is that? What is the reason for that? What is being activated in me right now? Am I feeling inspired? Am I feeling adoring? Am I living vicariously through that person and what they're doing? Is it speaking to a part of me that longs to express in that way? And because what we are experiencing is happening within the context of an environment that has a power template in place by the way that things have been set up, let's take it another step, even deeper than that, and start to question how the power dynamic plays into these sensations that we feel. Is there something that is driving this connectivity, or our willingness to listen to that person because we are perceiving them in a position of authority? And to what extent is that obvious and transparent and made clear? And to what extent is that actually subversive and something that is just going on within the fabric of the space and the dynamic of the event or whatever that situation is? So it's just an interesting little thread to follow, to question why am I feeling connected to this quality of expression? What is that about? Is it because that person is exuding a kind of powerful energy about them? And by powerful energy, how do I define that? What does that actually mean? What does that look like? And just to finish on that note, thinking and reflecting on performers, presenters, musicians that I really resonate with in their delivery style, it's always those that bring in the audience into their space, if you like, and that actually it feels like an embrace, and it feels that there's a warmth there, and that there is not a talking down to. There's no condescending, whether that would be intended or unintended, but it's just in the way that they have opened the space and invited people into that shared space to connect and to experience something together. So that's a skill, I think, a real skill in the context of performance and presentation, being able to do that and maintain a kind of dual focus where you're really connecting with the audience and allowing there to be an energetic kind of feedback loop where there is an exchange happening and it is nourishing both parties, but also holding that kind of awareness of yourself in the space and what you're doing and the direction of travel that you're going or trying to take things. Perhaps you've got a specific script to remember or lyrics of a song or an instrumental part. So there's this kind of switching that happens where you're positioning yourself from the point of view of the audience, but then coming back to you as a performer or a presenter and bouncing between the two. And I think those that manage to achieve the warmth and the the space that feels like there is equanimity there, actually, even though the focus is on one person, objectively from a kind of visual point of view, but the atmosphere and the energy of a performance space, it couldn't be a performance without the audience or without a listener there, and that the individual who is receiving that attention or acknowledgement understands that, and therefore they invite the audience into that space to be present and journey with them through that experience to help facilitate their communication and translation of whatever it is they are there to express. So that's just a few thoughts on that. Let me know what you think. Maybe I'm alone in this perspective, but I would be really interested to hear from both performers and from, people who enjoy listening